thank you to Cade Silvermoon for their generous donation on Patreon. Hello everyone, my name's Vivian and welcome back to Temptation's Ballad, where we're now going to look at the tavern lobby. We're out looking around and apparently a million things got added to this, so let's see how it goes. Artemy was in the middle of an intense conversation with several Bonebreaker mercenaries. What do you mean biting is hot? Such attacks are forbidden in chivalric battles, when Marrow pulled her aside. This is embarrassing now. I'm gonna be doing a fucking Scottish accent next to a napping Scot.
Hey, lass. Think you can spare a moment? There's something I wanted to chat with you about in private.
Artemy blinked, somewhat surprised.
Of course. I'd be happy to speak with you.
There was a strange look on Marrow as he led her to a more secluded corner of the lobby. All the other mercenaries took the hint and left them alone. For someone who usually carried himself with such easygoing confidence, it was odd to see Marrow appear so self-conscious. The older hyena cleared his throat awkwardly.
So, you're a good lass, and got an honest look about you. You mind sharing your thoughts with this out-of-touch old man? I was just wondering, what do you think about Cole? And does he talk about his old pa much? What's your opinion on him and his entire situation overall?
Artemy smiled, amused.
Are you asking me for constructive criticism, Sir Marrow?
Marrow crossed his arms with an indignant pout.
Well, yeah, in the matter of speaking. All the boys in the guild and Hamish love me too much to really speak out against me. And your other teammates say this too much of a pushover to be constructive.
He chuckled self-consciously.
As a leader and a father, it's probably healthy to have my ego checked occasionally. At least, that's what my old sister always used to tell me. Gotta make sure there ain't stuff I'm missing about the folks under my care. So, let me know if there's anything I can do better for my boy. I'm always open to some change.
Oh, is she gonna say it? She said she wouldn't, but she might. Artemy grew a little quiet. This was certainly not what she was expecting. Her thoughts drifted to memories of Her Excellency's cold stares and indifferent dismissals. And yet, here, this hulking brute of a man was asking for her opinion. Artemy sighed and conceded that she truly knows nothing about how families function.
Well, Cole does speak of you quite often. It is clear that he loves and respects you very much. Despite our short time together, I can already tell you that you provide him with much inspiration and support.
Marrow puffed out his chest with pride.
No, that's what I want to hear.
I do have some concerns, however. You are a great man, Marrow Bonebreaker, but you cast a large shadow. How is Cole to live up to such a legend?
Marrow faltered slightly.
What do you mean, lass?
Artemy restlessly gnawed at her thumb as she struggled to put her thoughts in order. How? I mean, she's got fucking metal gauntlets or at least gloves on.
I've seen Cole do some unsavory things and compromise himself in order to appear more in line with your image. He is no fool. You two are very different people, yet he does it anyway. I believe Cole has the potential to become a great leader, but not when he's bending all of his efforts towards his father's approval.
Marrow snorted and crossed his arms defensively.
Now, Cole ain't gotta do anything like that to get my approval. I've always tried my best to be supportive of my boy in everything he does, even when I don't really approve.
Artemy smiled kindly.
That much is clear. Cole knows it too. All those warm, supportive words. They're comforting, but there is no way to know if they're genuine or if you're simply trying to be a good father. Cole does ridiculous things to win over your true approval, and he has no idea if he's doing it right or not.
Artemis softened and laughed.
Two family members bending over backwards in an effort to avoid hurting the other's feelings. It is rather sweet. But in the end, I believe it'll be best if you two start being honest with each other.
Marrow fell quiet. His glass eye glistened in his empty socket as he scratched his chin.
That gives me a bit to think about. Thank you, lass.
She didn't say it. She had the chance and she didn't say it. Damn. Well, good on ya. That's all for the Marauders District. And now we'll move on to the Market District. Sid's playground. Oh, we only got two places here. We've got Soul's Arcane Curiosities. Let's see how this goes. A good old 3D vector graphics background. Sid and Artemis exchange nervous looks before awkwardly shuffling toward the entrance of Soul's Arcane Curiosities. I believe that's the same shop that we fucking demolished on our first day. The shop's front entrance has been mostly repaired since yesterday's events. The wall now lacked a cart-shaped hole, though the wood displays noticeable cracks and scars from the traces of countless mending spells.
Do we have to come back here? I don't think the shopkeeper's gonna be happy to see us again. Sir Sid, we must accept responsibility for our actions. We were the ones who destroyed the shop's storefront. Thus, the least we can do is offer our apologies. I get that, but why isn't Cole here?
Artemis scowled and stomped her feet. Oh, look at her fucking face! And she's saying that little coward refused to... She is fed up with his shit. Holy hell.
That little coward refused to come. I tried to drag him with us, but his illusion magic made him rather elusive.
She sighed.
I suppose if Cole won't perform his duties, we will have to do so in his stead. Sir Sid, you're rather close to Cole, yes? Perhaps you can persuade him into acting with a single shred of morality sometime? I've never been a very persuasive person. Plus, Cole doesn't seem like the kind of guy that changes tune after a conversation or two.
Artemis grumbled in dismay.
You are right. Perhaps I should try threatening physical violence instead. What? No! Cole's such a tiny guy. One swing and he'll crumble like dust.
Sid eyed Artemis worriedly.
You were so prim and proper yesterday. What happened? I've been studying Sir Marrow's teaching techniques and found them most effective, lack of punctuation. I have been pondering ways to implement them into my daily affairs. Maybe Marrow isn't the best person to learn diplomacy from. Perhaps. Though you cannot deny his methods are effective. I can see why you look up to this man.
Sid sighed and scratched his head self-consciously.
I guess. Anyway, are we going to apologize to the shopkeeper or what?
Aw. Knock, knock.
Hello? Is the shopkeeper available at the moment? Artemis, this is a store. You don't have to knock. Oh, I suppose you're right.
That's funny. The ship's doorbell jingled pleasantly as they entered. Sid and Artemis took one step into the shop and immediately bowed their heads in shame.
Hello, shopkeeper Saul. We came to apologize for accidentally demolishing your front door yesterday.
Welcome to Saul's Arcane Curiosities. What can I get for you? Oh, it's you two.
Oh, wait a minute. Sir Clyde? What the fuck? I didn't know that was him.
Sir Clyde? What are you doing here? And why are you wearing a shirt?
Tiger scowled, his eyes baggy and tired. He straightened out his ragged overalls and glared at the two with annoyance. Maybe because we destroyed his fucking shop and he needed a job.
Well, seeing as my fighting ring is currently buried under a pile of rubble, I had to seek new employment.
I guessed right.
Oh,
Artemy gulped and bowed deeply.
my deepest apologies, Sir Clyde. Had I shown more restraint yesterday?
Tiger sighed and waved a hand dismissively. Stop that. I can't get mad when you're being so sincere and shit. Besides, if I had to choose between finding a new job or getting beaten to death by stone elementals, I'd pick the former. Artemy hung her head shamefully and shuffled behind Sid. By the way, why isn't Cole with you guys?
Oh, he kinda insisted on not coming.
Ooh, that's gonna send a mixed message. Clyde mumbled under his breath dryly. That does sound like him. Sid awkwardly scratched his head.
So, what happened to the old shopkeeper here?
Oh, him. Saul's a pretty old man. When the three of y'all crashed through his door yesterday, the shock gave the poor guy a heart attack. He collapsed and was quickly sent to the infirmary. Clyde grimaced. Saul's fine, by the way, but he had to find someone to look after the shop while he rests and recovers. So here I am. Yay. Saul didn't let me go shirtless, though, so I had to dig up some old clothes for the job. Artemy clutched her chest in horror. I nearly killed an elderly man yesterday. Now. All three of you nearly killed an elderly man yesterday. Sharing the blame is a good strategy and for life in general, lass. Artemy was too busy collapsing into a fetal position to hear him. Sid scratched his head awkwardly.
On the bright side, at least you managed to find work quickly.
Yeah, look on the bright side. Sir Clyde managed to find work thanks to you giving an old man a heart attack.
Clyde glanced at Artemy with concern. Hey, is she alright? Your friend is spiraling there.
Yeah, she does that sometimes. Give her a minute.
Clyde shrugged. Don't think yourselves too hard. Hamish was the one who caught wind of my situation and recommended me to Saul.
Hamish did? That's awfully nice of him.
Clyde nodded gratefully. He's a good man, always ready to clean up his son's messes. Hamish was the one who helped me start up my fighting ring after my fallout with the blacksmithing guild. Artemy and Sid stared up at the tiger in surprise.
You were a blacksmith, Sir Clyde?
The tiger laughed humorlessly. There was a hoarse and bitter edge to his voice. I wasn't always a black market dealer or fighting ring coordinator. That was all a means to an end. In the beginning, I set out with the goal of becoming an honest blacksmith. The blacksmithing guild never saw a more talented rookie than yours truly right here. As a teenager, I created masterpieces and works of art the guild veterans couldn't even dream of. Clyde chuckled and shrugged regretfully. Gotta admit, getting called a prodigy one too many times inflated my ego somewhat. I was successful, not well liked.
How come you're not doing blacksmithing stuff instead of running an illegal fighting ring? Sounds like a better career option to me.
The tiger fell silent. His gaze drifted as a resentful scowl washed over him. I would if I could. I ran into a little trouble when I was working at the guild. And by a little trouble, I mean call it a bone breaker. Clyde sighed. Maybe I shouldn't go into detail. Wouldn't want to give y'all a bad impression of your new boss. Sid and Artemy exchanged looks before both pressing Clyde with curious nods.
Actually, you mind spilling the beans? I definitely wouldn't mind learning a bit more about him. I do not know what beans Sir Sid is speaking of, but I too would like to know.
Clyde snorted before sinking into a chair behind the shopkeeper's table. It's a long story. Where do I even start? Cole and his folks were frequent customers at the blacksmithing guild, since we supplied most of their equipment. This was back when the two of us were just dumb teens. Cole and I would hang out whenever his father came by for business, and
hang out some more in the back of the guild building, if you know what I mean.
Clyde laughed at Sid's flabbergasted expression. Artemis just looked confused.
We were horny teens, what did you expect? I admit that's not all we did, though. Turns out the little guy really liked tinkering with small metalworking contraptions,
Which we heard about in the other thing. Hey, look at that.
and I was nice enough to teach him a few tricks. Got along real nicely back in the day.
A nostalgic smile spread across Clyde's face as he reminisced quietly.
We never really talked about it too much, but I knew it. He knew it too. We'd tell people that we were just best friends, but really, I loved the little asshole. No one else was there for me the way he was. Too bad the two of us were just too young and stupid to address our feelings properly.
Clyde sighed.
Anyway, after a few years of working as the Blacksmithing Guild's prodigy, my ego and ambition got the better of me. I wanted to create the greatest masterpieces the world had ever laid eyes upon. Metalworking masterpieces that would cement me as a true prodigy in the Blacksmithing Guild. The guild veterans laughed it off as hubris of a rookie. Our suppliers didn't want to take the risk on an expensive project from a young blacksmith with such little work history. Cole was the only one who really supported me.
Bittersweet smile spread across his face as he reminisced.
Prove those suckers how wrong they are, he said. I've got your back. If these weapons turn out as great as you say, you can sell them to my papa. The greatest mercenary in the world wielding the best masterworks weaponry? You don't have to worry about people not taking you seriously anymore with that kind of achievement. So I took the dive. Spent nearly an entire year perfecting my designs down to the tiniest detail. Problem was, the project required some very special type of metals and ingots. Rare ingots. Anyone lucky enough to have such metals would be crazy to even consider selling them to me. Even after an entire year of searching and begging, I couldn't find any suppliers who even had these materials in stock. I was ready to give up on the entire endeavor. But one night, Cole showed up to my door looking more excited than I've ever seen him. Behind him, he dragged an entire cartload of goods and materials. Cole gave me that big old smile and said that he promised to have my back when the goings got tough, and he's sticking to his promises. The fucker actually did it. He somehow got the materials that I needed.
Soft smile spread across Clyde's face despite the bitterness in his voice moments before.
I never felt more alive as I worked that night. The love of my life cheering me on as I carved masterpieces into being with my own two hands. What more could a blacksmith ask for? Hours slipped by without my notice. It was daybreak before I finally finished. There, on my workshop table, were the greatest weapons that the whole of Axia will ever see. My first creation was Vax Soror, a massive Damascus steel great axe as black as the night itself. I designed it specifically for Marrow Bonebreaker.
Clyde chuckled.
He was the one who named it Vox Soror, not me. From what I've heard, he's taken quite a liking to it. This great axe possesses the ability to shatter and neutralize most forms of magic. Perfect for an anti-magic brute like him.
Artemis' ears perked up.
Ah, I see. I had first-hand experience against your creation just this afternoon. The way Sir Marrow's axe cut through my lightning spells with ease. It was quite the intimidating weapon. You should be proud of your skills, Sir Clyde.
The tiger held his head high with a prideful grin.
She's a beaut, ain't she? A little on the simple side, but she's good at what she does.
What was the second weapon you made?
Was it the fucking, the thing that Sid wields now? I don't remember the name of it. Halberd, there you go. Tiger's ears drooped as he scratched his head with embarrassment.
That one's a little... I'm still proud of what I created, but it's got a few flaws here and there. I call it the Lanius.
Hey, yeah, it's a silver halberd crafted from a special metal with peculiar shape memory qualities. Every part of this halberd, from the handle to the blade, can contract and extend to its wielder's will. Its changeable length and form makes it incredibly deadly in combat if mastered correctly. The only problem is, I kinda made the thing a little too heavy. It was a necessity with all the shapes it could transform into, but it's still a little clumsy. I could barely even lift the damn thing with both hands. Whoever uses it would need to be monstrously strong. Sid blinked in surprise before reaching for the hand axe holstered on his hip. With a slight twist, the weapon sprang to its full length as a halberd. Boom. Yeah, bitch, it's fucking...
Are you talking about this?
Clyde's eyes grew wide as he stood up, hands shaking. Bittersweet softness washed over the man as he gingerly reached out a hand towards the silver halberd.
Lanius. So he gave it to you. May I?
Sid held out the weapon for its creator to grasp. As soon as it left the badger's grip, the halberd immediately dropped like a lead weight. Clyde's arms buckled as he struggled to hold it aloft. He let out a self-deprecating laugh and hastily passed it back to Sid.
Oh, man. What a fool I was. Here lies my masterpiece. A weapon that most people can't even hold.
Clyde marveled at the sight of Sid holstering the Lanius, completely unbothered by its weight.
I'm glad the Lanius has found itself a worthy wielder, though. There's a lot of potential hidden in this Ballad.
Ballad.
Put it to good use for me, will ya?
Sid gulped and scratched his head self-consciously.
Well, I wouldn't call myself worthy or anything, but I'll do my best.
He frowned.
I still don't understand, though. You created two perfectly good masterwork weapons. Why did the blacksmithing guild end up kicking you out?
Clyde sank back down into his chair with a scowl.
Nothing in life comes free. Nothing besides trouble. Remember how I said that these weapons required rare materials? Turns out Cole stole them from an important, noble family. They were none too happy to find where their precious metals ended up. Managed to piss off some powerful people. The nobles filed a massive complaint to the blacksmithing guild, who took the brunt of the blame for their misconduct. After paying a small fortune in fines, the guild was quick to blacklist me from all the forges in the city. No smith wants me anywhere near them.
Tiger let out a bitter laugh.
And so the Bone Breakers ended up with two masterwork weapons, while all I got was a broken future.
Artemy and Sid sat in stunned silence.
So many S's. Wait, this must be a big misunderstanding. Cole isn't the kind of guy who would throw you under the bus like this. Right, Artemy?
Sid glanced at his teammate gravely, only to be met with doubtful silence.
I wouldn't put it past him, if I'm to be perfectly honest. Cole is a good man, but I have seen him act rather selfishly at times. Come on, Artemy, he's not that bad.
Clyde sighed.
I wanted to believe that. I always thought that maybe there was a mix-up and it was an honest mistake on Cole's part. The two of us drifted apart a little, but I still considered us close friends. But now, after yesterday, I'm beginning to have second thoughts. Val always got angry on my behalf and treated Cole like a diseased swine whenever he showed up at the fighting ring. Maybe I should have listened to his warnings.
But wait, why don't you just start a blacksmithing forge of your own? You still got the skills for the job.
Forges don't come cheap. Plus, you need a network of trusted suppliers and sellers. No one wants to touch me after my little stolen metals incident. It's part of the reason why I started up my fighting ring and black market dealings. After a few years of running that junk, and I would have saved enough money to start my own forge. Chance to restart my dreams from scratch.
A tired grumble escaped the tiger's throat.
Alas, all that is gone once again, thanks to yesterday's incident.
Artemy felt her chest lurch painfully. She bowed her head again, low with shame. I had no idea. My deepest apologies, Sir Clyde. I didn't mean to inadvertently destroy your livelihood. Clyde laughed and waved her off.
Like I said earlier, I'd take another setback over getting clobbered to death by rocks. You don't need to worry about me. This little shop isn't too bad. It's always kind enough to supply me with a bunch of arcane crystals charged with the heat metal spell. I can do a bit of metal work and tinkering in the workshop out back. Nothing big like the weapons I used to work on, but it's a start. I'll never give up on my dream of being a blacksmith, no matter how many setbacks I face.
I admire your devotion, Sir Clyde. Please, if there is anything we can do to aid you, you need only ask.
Yeah, we kind of demolished your old job after all. We owe you this much.
Clyde smiled kindly.
Nah, you ain't gotta worry yourselves over me. I'll be fine on my own. Do pay me a visit sometimes, alright? Shopkeeper job feels a lot less exciting than organizing a fighting ring.
Wow. Well, that's incredible. A wave of exhaustion washed over Clyde as he fell back behind the shopkeeper's table. Sid and Artemy had left the shop a few minutes ago, leaving him alone with his thoughts. Reminiscing over his past had left him more emotionally drained than he expected. Clyde squeezed his eyes shut and let out a deep sigh.
My little coleslaw. I've always wanted to think the best of you. But now that I think about it, you never even apologized. Did I even mean anything to you?
The tiger suddenly jolted forward as a knock rapped through the door.
Welcome to Saul's Arcane Curiosities. What can I help you with? Oh.
Clyde chuckled at the sight of Sid poking his head through the entrance.
You know this is a public shop, right? There's no need for knocking. Right, sorry, force of habit.
He's literally the one that told Artemy that she didn't, whatever. The badger let out an awkward laugh.
Listen, I was wondering if I could ask you for a favor. This halberd that I have, it's got a lot of hidden properties, right? Would you mind showing me how they work once you get the chance? I know you're not a warrior or anything, but maybe you can help me master this thing.
An excited grin spread across Sid's face.
When I go out there and start doing heroic adventures, I'll make sure everyone knows that this masterpiece was a weapon made by the great Clyde Bessemer. I know the Blacksmithing Guild and nobles shat on your reputation, but skill is skill. If you put yourself out there, I imagine it'll shine through all the nonsense in your past.
Clyde felt his chest flutter. The earnest smile on Sid's face was blinding to look at. Clyde allowed his pride to grow again, just a little.
I think that's a grand idea. Not sure how far it'll go, but it's worth a shot. Tell you what, rookie. Come here first thing tomorrow morning. I'll show you all the tricks my little masterpiece has up its sleeve.
Sid pumped an enthusiastic fist in the air.
Hell yes!
Thank you for this opportunity, Clyde. You won't regret it.
Before the tiger could say another word, Sid had rushed out the door with a cheery skip to his step. Clyde couldn't help but smile to himself.
That lad's got spirit, I'll give him that.
He pauses suddenly, confused. Dots?
How did he know my full name? I don't recall ever telling him.
Oh no. Oh no, that was Cole, wasn't he? That was Cole. I mean, that would explain why he knocked when he blatantly told Artemy not to. And that would explain how he knows the full name. God damn it. God motherfucking damn it. Sid and Artemy had scarcely left Saul's arcane curiosities when they were stopped by a shout. The two turned around to see Clyde running down the street towards them, waving his hands wildly in an effort to get their attention. There he is.
Sir Clyde, what is the matter?
Tiger laughed before hunching over to catch his breath.
You two are quite the speedwalkers. I almost lost track of you guys.
I am surprised. You do not seem the type to lose your breath after such a short sprint. Are you feeling all right?
Clyde smiled and waved away their worries.
Just a little tuckered out after yesterday's events, that's all. Anyway, I wanted to speak with you.
Sid jumped with a start. This is also Cole, isn't it? This is Cole.
Me? Did I do something wrong?
Nothing of the sort. I got an offer for you, Sid. If you're gonna wield my greatest masterpiece, you might as well learn how it works, right? Come by the shop first thing tomorrow morning. I'll show you what it truly means to master the Lanius.
Sid's face split into a thrilled grin.
Really? You'd do that for me? I'd be honored. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
He laughed and scratched his head nervously.
I'm still not sure I'm worthy enough to wield such an important weapon, but I'll do my best to not disappoint.
Clyde gave Sid a friendly pat on the shoulder.
You got spirit, kid. Just hold yourself with a little more confidence and you got a great future ahead of you. Anyways, I gotta get back to work now. I'll see you first thing tomorrow morning.
That was fucking Cole. It was Cole, man. I'm telling you. I don't have any confirmation, but I know it's him. Artemy and Sid watched as Clyde hastily ran down the street back towards his shop. Sid pumped his fist excitedly. I don't get that gesture.
Training to learn a masterwork weapon? Maybe this is my chance to finally fight by your side as an equal. What's the matter?
Sid followed Artemy's gaze as she watched Clyde disappear around the corner of the street.
Sir Clyde seemed uncharacteristically out of shape just now. I wonder if he's all right.
It was Cole. I'm telling you. I am telling you that was Cole. The moment... Yeah, see, there you go. Quote-unquote Clyde turned around the street corner. He slumped against the wall as he struggled to catch his breath.
Man, maybe I ate too much at Mrs. Shrikewood's Inn earlier. I didn't think running up and down a street would take so much out of me.
Tiger's form fizzled like wisps of smoke as his disguised self-spell wore off. Yep. I called that shit. I called it. Cole exhaled sharply and wiped his sweat from his brow. It was the first time he used two disguises back to back. He needed more practice with his illusions. His pocket shifted as Malice slithered out and eyed him with curiosity.
I don't understand you mortals. You could have made that whole arrangement as yourself instead of this whole impersonating nonsense. Why go through all this trouble?
Cole snorted as he dusted himself off. Yep, you definitely wouldn't understand. Malice puffed up indignantly.
Ha! My vast undying mind far surpasses your own. Try me, puny mortal.
Cole chuckled humorously. They wouldn't trust me if I had suggested something like that to them. What are you up to? What kind of selfish shit are you planning in the background? None of them would have agreed to it without making a fuss.
To be fair, their suspicion is kind of warranted.
Did you ever apologize to that blacksmithing mortal for your wrongdoings? Dots? No.
Wow, you really are a piece of shit, Ack!
You didn't have to say that out loud.
Release me, you fiend!
I just wanted to do something nice for once. Is that too much to believe?
Coming from you? Yes! It is a shame you only do nice things when you are pretending to be someone else!
Cole shrugged. Listen, Quality Bonebreaker's got a bad track record. You try to help your best friend one time and suddenly you ruin his life. You try to help out a few strangers and you ruin his life again a second time. Sometimes it's best to keep my distance before I fuck things up again. It always happens eventually. Cole's voice trailed off as the smile on his face slowly faded. Honestly, why do I even try? Malice watched the small hyena with piercing eyes.
I believe I understand. You are rather averse to growing close to people, aren't you? I can empathize.
Malice gave him a wise nod. Wise nod.
Back home, I am clearly the greater and more talented demon among my siblings, but they always treated me like the baby of our family.
I don't see the connection whatsoever.
And thus I push them away. I must prove myself to them that I am indeed a strong and independent demon who don't need no siblings. That is why you should form a pact with me. Together we will no longer need any companions other than ourselves.
Cole rubbed his temples tiredly. You are probably the most unconvincing demon the world has ever seen. Keep resisting, man. Keep trying. Man, that was a lot of fucking background. God damn it with your unbalanced songs. So that was a lot. And, at least it explains. I mean, it seemed like it was building up to more than that, but it also is more than it seems. If you get what I mean. If that made any sense. I hope it did. Either way, thank you all very much for watching this episode of Temptations Ballad. If you want to play it yourself, the link is in the description down below, along with various ways to support me as well if you would like. If you like this episode, let me know in the comments down below what you thought of today's episode. And while you're down there, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you can get future episodes of this series and other ones I've done, examples of which you can find in the cards linked up above, and also I think one on the end slate, if you are so inclined. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll talk to you again later, y'all. See ya.